Hello, this is Geometry 10.2. We'll be finding arc measures. And kind of like in 10.1, there's quite a few terms here that you'll need to know. So you just have to be patient with me. But make sure you're writing down the definitions and an example of each of the terms. One of the terms in relation to a circle is a central angle. So a central angle is an angle whose vertex is at the center of a circle. So I could draw that right here. If this is circle B, then angle ABC, since the vertex there is at the center, is a central angle. Another term that you'll need to know is an arc. So if you start at one point on the circle and then make a full rotation around the circle, then that would be the entire circle, or it's also referred to as the circumference of the circle. But if you just take part of a circle, for example, from C to A, that's an arc of the circle. So like I was saying, from C to A, that's an arc. How I write that, I could also refer to that as arc AC, but up here, it's either arc AC or I could also name it arc CA. It's kind of like a segment where it doesn't really matter the order that you name the segment with the endpoints. Same thing with the arc, except instead of a little straight segment above A and C here, I have just a little arc. And then there's different types of arcs in a circle. So the different types of arcs in a circle are defined by their arc measure. So we measure an arc like we measure an angle in terms of degrees. Again, if I start at one single point on the circle, make a full rotation, that would be 360 degrees. Okay, half a circle, half a 360, 180 degrees. So I think it should be kind of obvious that this arc is less than 180 degrees. If you're trying to make an analogy, then the arc is kind of like an angle. If an angle is less than 90 degrees, it's an acute angle. If an arc is less than 180 degrees, like this arc right here, it's called a minor arc. So a minor arc is less than 180 degrees. But it would also be more than zero. And then how you name that arc is how we named it earlier, arc AC or arc CA. You just name it by its two endpoints. AC, you name it by the two endpoints. Another type of arc by its arc measure is a major arc. So a major arc has to fit two requirements. It's more than 180 degrees, but it also has to be less than 360 degrees. There's a specific way that you name a major arc. Basically, you trace out the arc on the circle. So for example, a major arc in this circle is an endpoint A, then you go to D, and then to C. So I can name that major arc, which is definitely more than 180 degrees, but it's also less than 360 because I don't go all the way back to point A on the circle there, but that arc is arc ADC. So you have to name a major arc by three letters. The two outside letters or points would be the endpoints of the arc. So this could be the same as arc CDA, but I can't really name it anything else. Like I can't mix up the points or the letters such as DCA. That would be a different major arc, even though DCA is also a major arc. If I named arc DCA like this, then that would be this arc, starting at point D, then going to point C before you get to point A. So this really tells you the direction as well, because for arc DCA, I can't get to point C before A if I rotate it in a clockwise direction. So from D to C before you get to A, and then A. If you could see what I kind of outlined there in green, that's also a major arc, but it's a different major arc than arc ADC. And then the last type of arc is a semicircle. That basically tells you exactly how much the measure of a semicircle should be. Half a circle, 180 degrees. Kind of like with a major arc, you have to name a semicircle by three letters or 3 points. The two outside points have to be the end points of the arc. So for example, on this circle right here, if I drew the diameter and have these points P and Q, I can't just name this semicircle PQ, even though the top half would be a semicircle for PQ if PQ is a diameter, the bottom half, but they actually would be two different semicircles. So if I have points here like R and T, If I'm talking about the top semicircle, then the top semicircle could be arc P, whoops, that should be R and T. That's this arc right here. P, then to R, before you get to Q, sorry, I said PRT, it actually should be PRQ, but that's a semicircle. The other semicircle in that diagram is semicircle PTQ on the bottom half of the circle. So semicircle PTQ, or I could also name it semicircle QTP. But make sure you have a little arc above that. But those are the different types of arcs by their measure.